Okay. Hi, Vicki. Happy birthday. Here is your 12-month birthday reading. I'm going to do it in a bit of a different format, so you'll see as I go. This could be a bit of a long reading, but it is your birthday and it is for 12 months. I always caveat my 12-month readings with the fact that although things might be more set in stone as they're closer to where we're at right now in the present moment, as we get further out into, months like six beyond, as far as 6 months out to 12 months out, the stuff is more flexible. But I think you already know that, right? So I just want to make mention of that before I get started. There's going to be a lot of switching back and forth just because this idea for this reading popped up in my head. I hope that you enjoy it. Please let me know if you liked the format or if you found it at least interesting. I also wanted to say thank you so very much for the decks and for all of the support, your subscription with Patreon, and just everything that you've done for me up until this point. And I really, really hope that you have a wonderful birthday season and everything that's to come. So let's get into this and see how it plays out. So I'm going to flip the cameras around. You're going to see different angles and things like that. So just bear with me. And again, let me know what you think of the format, or if it's too all over the place, or if it's too much information or too many cards or whatever. Just give me some feedback. All right, I will be with you throughout this reading. All right, one moment. Oh wait, how do I adjust the camera again? Uh-oh. Oh God. Wait a second, what did I do? Why don't I have... Will it not allow me to adjust it? Let me see here. Where is the settings bar? All right, so here is the actual reading. Apparently, when doing this live, I'm allowed to transfer between camera angles, and I'm finding that when I pre-tape these, I can't. So I didn't know that. So I'm going to do it slightly in a different manner, but you'll see. It's going to be first the introduction where I just said hello to you. Then this is the 12 months ahead. Each stand is going to represent one card for the month. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to stop this video and we are going to get into a little bit of clarifiers for each month. Ideally, what I wanted to do was put up the month card and then switch the cameras to go straight into clarifiers, but it's not going to allow me to do that. So I'm just going to edit these videos in this order. I hope that makes sense. I thought that this was going to go more smoothly so I could bounce back and forth between different camera angles, but for some reason I'm not allowed to. I'm not sure why. So anyways, let's look at the year ahead for Vicki. Okay, so for the month of July, which is the month that will be starting in about 8 more days, 7 more days, you have the Ace of Swords. Great card, great kickoff as far as swords being the element of air, new opportunities, celebration, clear thought, truth, honesty. To me, aces feel like the focus is on the self during this month. Ideally, hopefully, that is the case for you as you move through this month. Stand in your truth, be open to new ideas, new ways of thought. Prepare yourself to kind of maybe be surprised by a few thoughts. Maybe this could be thoughts of others, but primarily maybe the way that you're seeing things or thinking about things. There could be a new, like a renewal in a sense, as to how you're dealing with situations that maybe normally have plagued you or bothered you or maybe offered like discord in your life. I feel like this is a month where we get to rise above it. We get to change. We get to see things from maybe a higher, more clearer, truer perspective that serves us, that is to be celebrated, that is to be excited about, right? The next card, which would be August, will be the Nine of Cups. So cups is our emotions. We have a singular person here also, right? Similar to that ace and the singularity of the ace. This would be about having everything feel emotionally complete and satisfaction sort of being our focus, emotional satisfaction. I feel like this follows the ace of swords nicely. Wherever we've sort of cleared our mind, changed our thought patterns, the way we perceive things the month previous in July, in August, we get to really feel the satisfaction of that. We get to feel connected, in sync, enjoying our world, enjoying whatever work that we've put in, or whatever maybe things that we were struggling with in the past. We're certainly beyond them by this point. We're probably already in the process of getting beyond them in June, really. If I want to, like that's my feeling, is that with the clarity of that Ace of Swords in July, and then the follow up of the Nine of Cups in August, it really says to me that maybe some work's taken place in the months of May and June that have allowed us to open up the doors to these uh, new thoughts and feelings of well-being that are going to follow in the months to come. Now, the next card is the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups is about sort of doing the adult thing and stepping away, right? This is in September. This is about departing away from something, but in essence, when we depart away from it, we're actually bringing about a balance. Uh, uh, we're probably making a situation better by separating from it. It's not necessarily the easiest of cards, but it is an opportunity for us to do what we know is true for ourselves. Some of that could be the truth that we see in that Ace of Swords 2 months prior. There's certainly also a truth in the Nine of Cups, right? An emotional truth that we know is present in August. To maintain that emotional truth, or maybe to hold on to whatever it is that we have left of that, we might find that by September we're actually having to sort of look at things as they are, maybe weigh our losses, and begin to make decisions that sort of harder adult decisions of uh, changing our trajectory or moving away from whatever it is that's no longer serving us, that's maybe causing us any sort of emotional upset or challenge in a way that is not helping by any means. Now, the next card beyond that is the Page of Pentacles. Now, this would be for October. The Page of Pentacles is about new money to me. It feels to me like if there's anything going on monetarily right now, which I don't necessarily know that there is when I'm looking at these first three cards, but there might be a new, with that departure in the Eight of Cups, there may be an opportunity for us to begin to start to look at new career paths or new opportunities to make money or wealth in our life come October. There's a renewal or an exuberance that comes with pages. There's an optimism that comes with pages. And there's also an open-mindedness or a willingness to learn that happens in October for us that might open up avenues and doors for us to finally to go in a way that suits us, that teaches us, that educates us in some sort of way. We may not necessarily feel as though we know exactly the right thing to do or how to go about doing it, but we're certainly open to kind of paying attention, discerning, doing the work to get that awareness or that knowledge under our belt so that we can move forward, if that makes sense. Now, the next card is November. This is the Page of Wands. I like these two pages following one another. I'm going to say October and November are going to be an opportunity for big shifts. And normally the pages wouldn't necessarily indicate that singularly. But to me, these pages coupled one right after the other say to me that this is the transitionary period for you in October and November, where you can start to begin to set your sights on something new. Not only something new materially that we see in the Page of Pentacles, which could be wealth or job, career choices or changes, but also the Page of Wands adds this sort of spiritual action orientation, desire aspect to it that really, to me, feels like we're creating something in these 2 months. We're merging like the physical with the spiritual. We're merging the optimism and the willingness to learn, the willingness to change, the willingness to grow, the willingness to try new things. All of those sort of aspects are these page energies. And when they're coming together and in support of one another, and sort of we're transferring from one into the other, this 2 month period could be extremely productive for you, right? You might find that you have a little bit more energy during this time, a little bit more exuberance or drive during this time. So utilize it to learn as much as you can and to also seek whatever it is that you need or desire and begin to take steps towards creating that. Both Page of Wands is about taking action, but the Page of Pentacles is also about being grounded and productive, right? So I feel like these two together are really, even though they're not contradictory, but they're not necessarily complementary, but they work well together, I feel like, or at least that's the sense that I'm getting. One is going to be able to make you have the drive, right? And take the initiative, which would be the Wands, but the Pentacles also grounds you and makes you practical, intelligent, discerning, all of that. So I really like that these two are coming together during this period for you. So it'll be interesting to see what the clarifiers are during this 2 month period, because I think that there could be big changes happening amongst these pages, or at least the beginnings of that and the setting up of the plan. Now, the next card, sorry, because we're doing this in the middle of the year, so I'm trying that was November. So our next card is December and the end of the year. This is the Five of Wands. Now, the Five of Wands is that whole lot of fuckery card. It's definitely transitory. It's a little bit pain in the ass energy, to be honest. I mean, we have all of those children fighting. It can be things getting out of hand. I don't necessarily feel like it's that. It almost, to be honest, with that page with his wand in the month before, it almost feels like some of the ideas that you might have, don't be surprised if in December you get a little bit of backlash. Backlash from those that you love or backlash from those that you work with. This could be clients, this could be friends. Their opinions might sort of try and weigh in on whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're working towards, and they may be sort of getting in your way a little bit or trying to throw you off the path, challenge you in a way. Like, I almost get a sense when I'm looking at this Five of Wands, it's like, how bad do you really want it, Vicki? Like, did you really do all your homework? Indeed you did, and indeed you still will be, and you will probably still be doing your homework during this Five of Wands, but you'll find that there will probably be in December some distractions, others' opinions, things that are not necessarily, how do I want to say it? They might be a little bit annoying. But don't let it get in your way. I kind of feel like it won't, just because it is a five, and to me the Five of Wands can be just a bit of an eye roll card. But it could just be the responsibilities that come along with the holidays and the ending of the year and everything that we have to do to prepare there, where it doesn't necessarily feel as full of opportunity as the previous 2 months do of October and November. Does that make sense? So don't let that slow you down. Just deal with it as it comes and move through December. Now, January, the new year, we've got the Two of Pentacles. So I feel like this is the kind of aftermath of this Five of Wands. The Two of Pentacles, to me, he's juggling those pentacles there. But I really feel like this is whatever this idea is, or this new choice that we make back in October, we start to really begin to see it coming into reality by January. There's a balance here. There could be money coming in new and different ways that we're trying to maintain, that we're trying to keep focus on, that we're trying to make work. Will we make them work? We'll see in the cards that come after this card. But this is where it's like the rubber hits the road for you a little bit after whatever is being conceived in October and made real in November, and then we're fighting for it or trying to stay true to it throughout December. January is where we actually start to see, like, okay, now the fruits of our labor are coming in, and we want to maintain this growth, this possibility. So the next card is February. So we have the King of Cups. This should be a nice month for you. King of Cups is definitely water energy, but he's also sort of full of love, full of compassion, full of care. Whether this is compassion that you're giving to others or that you're receiving, it should be a very nice, calm, lovely month. What I do notice here, and just this is in the art design, is that if you look here in the Two of Pentacles, there's these rocking waves behind here. That's kind of the motion of this infinity symbol where he's juggling the two pentacles. When we look here at the King of Cups, he still has the waves, but the seas have calmed much more. He's also the King of Cups, so he's a bit more aware of the seas, a bit more in control of the seas. He's a bit more one with the seas, right? Even though this isn't a Pentacles card, it's Cups, which would be the emotions. I feel like by February, whatever we're dealing with maybe in the previous months, even all the way back to that Eight of Cups, right? All the way back to whatever that departure was, or that choice that we maybe had to make back in, what would that be? That would have been September. I feel like it comes to a solution or a acceptance in this February where we're in a place where things are starting to feel right again, right? We're starting to feel in control. We're starting to feel like we can kind of understand why everything is the way that it is, and we're okay with it. We're in alignment to it. We have compassion for it. We're good with it. Does that make sense? Now, the next card will be your March. March is the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups would indicate a little bit of confusion, a little bit of uncertainty. It's can be that there's maybe one too many options on the table. Again, I think this was going to give us more information when we get to the clarifiers. It's kind of interesting that the King of Cups is so self-assured, and then we slip into March, into the Seven of Cups. There might be a choice that needs to be made in March that we're not sure, and we might be fearful that we could be giving something up. I'm not sure that we will. I'll have to see, but what we could be giving up is that self-assuredness that we had in February through that King of Cups. So let's go to the next month and see what April has to say. April is the Eight of Swords. This is a feeling of being stuck, trapped in our thoughts, maybe trapped in ideas of limitation. The thing with the Eight of Swords is that there is opportunity. There's that castle looming in the background. We can't see it because we're blindfolded, but what we need to realize is that we're not completely as surrounded as we think we are. I would say this. February and March don't look like the best period for you, but again, like I said, further out in the year, these cards are more malleable and certainly up for greater changes. So don't hold me to that. I don't want you walking through this year expecting February and March to be bad for you. Not February, sorry, March and April. Is that right? December, January, February. March and April, I'm sorry. March and April should be months where you might find yourself struggling both emotionally and physically and mentally, but it's all an opportunity to sort of break free or get to where you need to be going. So I don't want you to hold that as a hard and fast truth, but be on the lookout there. We'll look at the also how the clarifiers come out, because that will give us further insight into maybe what is going on during those 2 months. Now, the next month is going to be May, and May is the Ace of Pentacles. So new day, new dawn, new opportunities. This can be a great sea change or shift in whatever it is that we were dealing with in the previous 2 months. This is also, we're talking about May, so spring is about to come around. So there's always the newness to all of that. But also there could be opportunities for money, for things to feel more settled, or a shift in a change that helps us to become more positively minded again, or feel certainly more free and more available. That Pentacles energy is more grounded, more connected, more in tune. So I like that. And then the last card is going to be June, and June is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is about sort of having an argument or fighting things out to such an extent, and realizing that even though we got what we wanted, it may not be exactly what we thought we wanted. Does that make sense? And so it's sort of like the victory may be bittersweet come June. I think that these cards are going to tell us a little bit more in the clarifiers as to what could be potentially happening. We may have to defend something or fight for something in the month of June, that there could be a loss of some sort or a departure of some sort yet again. Not necessarily a departure on your part, but maybe there might be somebody around you or somebody that you're interacting with that needs to sort of walk away, or instead of like you walking away earlier in the year, they may need to walk away because they can't sort of get with your truth, if that makes sense, or your ideas or your thoughts. Now, I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to start the clarifiers for each of these months, and I'm going to change camera angles, and I will be right back. One moment. Okay, now here is segment 3. These are your clarifiers for each of these months. So we're first going to clarify the Ace of Swords, and that would be the month of July of this year. So on this Ace of Swords, or underneath it, we have the Strength card, which would be associated with the sign of Leo. We have the Page of Pentacles. And we have the King of Wands. So I am going to say this. It's interesting that we have not only the sign of Leo and the Strength card, and we also have the King of Wands, which is associated with fire. This is also very much, I believe he's more, I don't know if he's a Leo, but he's associated with the fire signs. And we will be in Leo season in July, in the second half of July. So I don't think that these are bad things. I actually think that these are very much in synchronicity with what will be going on just at the time as far as the birthday season. The Page of Pentacles, you know how we saw that Page of Pentacles coming in 3 months later? I feel like this is the beginnings of the thoughts of that month. Does that make sense? So in the reality of, or the realization of this Ace of Swords, right? The month of July should be this opportunity to see things from maybe a grander perspective, a bigger perspective, and certainly a perspective of more possibility. And we see that in the Strength card. We also see that in the King of Wands. The King of Wands is about taking action, being driven by desire, being in control of that desire, and taking like sort of whatever steps need to be taken to make that desire a reality, right? So when I'm looking at these 3 cards here, it feels like we're certainly strong enough to make it happen. We have the a willingness to learn and the productivity to like start to want to think about new avenues, because the newness would be the Page, but the Pentacles would be about avenues, money, changes in career, that sort of a thing. I think that this becomes far more real when we see that Page 3 months later. But be mindful of July in the sense that there should be new ideas, new thoughts. They should be empowered. They should be connected to spirit. They should be important. We need to remember that we have the strength and the balance within us to make them happen. And begin to tinker in those ideas, right? Begin to play with the ideas, the newness of them, whatever they may be, having patience that it may take a little bit of time, but certainly allowing that excitement of the possibility to be our driving force, if that makes sense, during this month. Be inspired by July. Listen to sort of, you know, the desires or the things sort of that are percolating within you that want to come forward, right? If there's an inkling of something that you desire or that you want, and I think it will be more than an inkling, especially with the Strength and the Prince of Wands here, or the King of Wands. The idea may kick off small here, but it's going to gain steam in a few months' time, is my feeling, because I feel like this is the harbinger for the month of October. And like I said, those 2 pages together, that's sort of like the turning point in this year's reading to me, is how I feel. I feel like those 2 pages coming together in October and November are going to be the really most productive time that I see for you. Well, let me see. I feel like you've got a couple of periods of production when I look at these cards. The 2 pages together in November and October are great. They give me the most opportunity for expansion, right? Then I see, again, the 2 of Pentacles feels like that is productive for you, and the King of Cups. So that would be your January, February. Those 2 months are quite good. And then again, your February, March, April, May should also be quite good for you. The rest are kind of, they're not that they're bad, they're just sort of, you might find yourself dealing with things that aren't necessarily favorable or that you're enjoying so much, right? let's see this Nine of Cups for the month of August. So on the Nine of Cups, we have the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Hanged Man. And we have the Eight of Wands. So I sort of feel like when I'm looking at these three cards and the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Cups is that sense of sort of wishes and dreams being fulfilled, feeling connected to ourselves emotionally, understanding and being proud of maybe the work that we've done thus far. The clarity that we get and the desire that comes out of the month of July really starts to become a little bit more connected to in the month of August. That's my feeling. We have the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like she's the growth or the sort of more nurturing side of this Page of Pentacles. Any ideas that we maybe had the month previous, we want to nurture those ideas and grow them. There is a period of wait, though. The Hanged Man is Pisces energy, right? He's also about spiritual enlightenment through patience, through waiting for that moment or that aha, that understanding that he needs before he can move forward. The Eight of Wands is that forward movement. It can be swift. It's usually done sort of from a place of positivity, romance, love. And what I mean by romance is it's like whatever it is that we want or that we desire, that we see in all of this fire that's going on in July, right? We might be willing to begin to take steps towards it or make movements towards it, but we may have to wait for the right moment. It could be at the end of the month of August, right? That's the month we're in. And this could be part of that Eight of Cups, that departure that we see in the month of September. So this could be the beginnings of the movements of that towards the end of August into September. So let's look at the Eight of Cups. On the Eight of Cups, we have the Eight of Pentacles, which would be about hard work, paying attention to details, taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, doing sort of the small, like focusing in on sort of what is really going on. How do we really feel? When I look at this eight underneath the Eight of Cups, to me, not only are they complementary, but I feel like this is about sort of honing in on the true feelings that we might have, any changes that need to take place, even if they're hard changes. Now is the time to do the work, put in the effort and get them done, paying attention to the details. The Five of Pentacles would be about making that departure or feeling left out in the cold. If there's a situation that's beneath you, Vicki, or somewhere where you're not being treated fairly or being honored in the way that you feel as though you should for the work that you're putting in, now is the time to sort of begin to come to the understanding of that and make the adult decision to step away. That would be the Eight of Cups. And then we have the Seven of Cups. So there is a little bit of emotional confusion around this. This could be a relationship. It could be work related because we see all of this Pentacles. But it's to me, I feel like with that Eight of Cups, it's not just about money or work. The Seven of Cups too also would indicate that whatever it is, you are emotionally attached to it. It is not an easy decision for you to make. It might take some a significant part of the month to kind of weigh it out or look at it from a multitude of angles so that you're okay when you do make the decision to depart or to step away, to disengage, to let go. And this doesn't have to be it can be any sort of thing. It can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be a lot of different things for you. But whatever it is, this is about sort of making that clear decision within yourself emotionally to kind of cut your losses and be done with it. Whatever it is, it's not honoring you is my feeling, and it's causing maybe a little bit of emotional confusion due to the care that you may put into this situation, but it's not necessarily giving that same care back to you, if that makes sense. So let's go to this Page of Pentacles. Now we're in October. Sorry, they're mowing the lawn. So we have the King of Pentacles. I love that. We have the Chariot. I love that. And we have the High Priestess. Damn. Okay. This is your month, girl. I'm interested to see what the Page of Wands has to say too. I feel like October is a powerful month for you. Even though the Page of Pentacles is not the most powerful card, I love the fact that he's open to new ideas, new beginnings, new chapters, creating something out of nothing, taking, the risk, learning as he goes. The truth of the matter is underneath him is the King of Pentacles. There's a bigger idea here. There's a bigger, and I gotta say this too, we've seen both in these clarifiers, we've seen a lot of pentacles happening. We've seen the Page, we've seen the Queen, and then the 8 and the 5, and now the 10. So there is some shifting taking place in our material world. Where we put in our work, how we put in our work, and how that work is valued will be important during this whole period. I think that the King of Pentacles is the master manifester. He is the great dream. We know underneath what it is that we maybe want, what it is that we want to go about getting for ourselves. The Chariot is about taking that time to nurture that and move towards that, to celebrate that, and to not take any no for an answer. The High Priestess is about trusting our own intuition and our own truth, being that pillar for ourselves, connecting into ourselves spiritually and following that information. With her, him, we've got earth and water again, which to me is very complementary. We also see earth and water here, but it's a little bit more unstable because of the setback of the 5 and the confusion of the 7. We also have earth and water here, which is the Queen and the Pisces nature of the Hanged Man. So, I like the balance of these two things. It's like where we feel this might be the year where, or at least these first 4 months are the time frame where we're getting ourselves kind of in order as to how we feel and what we receive, what we want, what we, and how we feel about that, how it makes us feel, really looking at that sort of stuff and making changes there. October is the month to really step into our power, trust ourselves above anybody else, and begin to move towards it. We also have the 2 major movement cards here, which is the 8 of Wands and the Chariot, right? We also see movement in that 12-month in the 8 of Cups because he's moving away, and we see the movement of in the same month with the 5 of Pentacles as they move through this adversity, right? So expect some shifts in these next 4 months, right? They will ultimately be shifts for the positive, though. I want to express that to you. So let's go to that Page of Wands, which would be November. Now, for the Page of Wands, November, we have the 5 of Swords, we have the Judgment card, which is Scorpio energy, and we have the 4 of Wands. So this, to me, I'm going to say this. This 5 of Swords is, again, that same description that I gave you for the end of the year, which is that idea of fighting for something that we believe in, but we may have to leave something behind. We've already left it behind, though, right? There's things that we're shedding away that need to be shed away, that we are consciously choosing to walk away from, it feels like, when I'm looking at these cards. We see it in that 8, we see it in this 5, we also see it again in this 5. I'm not bothered by this at this point in time. I think that this is us choosing ourselves over the opinions or thoughts of another. We don't need to convince them. Trying to convince them, if there is anybody that we're trying to convince, is like a moot point or not worth it. It's a waste of our time. This is all sort of balanced in this 4 of Wands, which is about that kind of spiritual desire, again, taking action. This can be seen as like sort of the soulmate card, but in this particular reading, when I'm looking at this and it feels like there's so much transition going on with all of this Pentacles energy, whatever we're changing, whether it's career, money making, our material world, our physical environment, this to me feels like we want to be in love with it as if it were a soulmate, right? As if it were sort of the love of our life, right? Whatever we're moving towards, we should be impassioned by it. We should be connected to it spiritually. We see that in Judgment. Expect the endings to really be probably pretty damn permanent by this point. There's no turning back after November, is my feeling with this Judgment card here, but we don't want to, right? We really don't want to with this 4 of Wands here. So let's look to the next month, which which is that Five of Wands. Five of Wands is the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Fool. So to me, the Ace of Swords and the Eight of Swords, I feel like the Ace of Swords is about us trusting our own information, our own truth, our own thoughts over that of anybody else, right? I feel like the Eight of Swords could be the restrictivity of the Five of Wands. Like other people, what they need, they're sort of, you know, it could be competitive energy, it could be limiting thoughts that they're trying to box you in. We don't want to be boxed in with the Fool here. There's a new opportunity. There's not only a new year coming because this is the month of December, but we've set into motion some things in the months previous that really can't and should not be stopped, right? I feel like the Chariot is, the wheels are rolling back here in December. To keep those wheels rolling, we have to answer the call. We might have to let go or cut ourselves loose. We're still continuing to cut ourselves loose through this Five of Wands. We may not always feel as though we can get free or that we can move, but this to me feels a bit like a conflict between the two. Some days we're going to be caught in that truth and celebratory, excited and exuberant about moving forward. Other days we're going to feel stuck or having to fight. That would be that Five of Wands energy. But I feel like this Fool card ultimately says that new beginnings are about to start, or they've already really sort of started back in the months previous, and it's time to sort of let that excitement of the new year, the new chapter to like begin or kick off for us. So let's look at February, which was that Two of Pentacles. Let's clarify that. We have the Nine of Swords. We have the Eight of Cups. And we have the Queen of Wands. I feel like the minute I flipped the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Cups, the first thing that popped into my head and seeing this Eight of Cups is, did we make a mistake back in September? The worry and the anxiousness of the Nine of Swords, also the reminder of this period from the past during all of this. Did we make the right decision? And some of this may stem from the fact that, you know, that Five of Wands energy in December, it might have been a bit of a fight, or we might feel like the rug was pulled out from under us a little bit, and it's been hard to maintain the optimism of the Fool, to maintain the desire for change and the openness to possibility. But I ultimately feel like with the Queen of Wands here, we still can make it happen. We need to, like, I love how she's sort of fixated this way, her face. She has a connection to the other side, but she's also sort of, she's aware of what she wants emotionally, but she's also aware of what she needs to do spiritually. And so even though we might have some misgivings or some questions amongst our head and our heart about certain things that have gone on in the last few months, she's going to be hopefully the driving force that leads us forward. That's that Two of Pentacles energy, where regardless of what's going on or what we've dealt with in December, we're still ready to move forward, right? We're still ready to make things happen for ourselves, right? So the next card is the King of Cups. And this would be your February. I'm going to move all of these up slightly so that we can see all of the cards. One moment. I hope all of this is making sense. Now, for the King of Cups, we have the Six of Swords. This is about moving away from all of this worry that's happening here with the Eight of Cups and the Nine of Swords. The Knight of Pentacles, this is about being grounded, discerning, careful, feeling probably like with the well-being of that King of Cups. This guy underneath it, to me, not only is he complementary to the King of Cups, but he's also very much a steady card, right? And the piece of the Six of Swords means that our mind has given us a bit of a break in February. And we should feel not only emotionally okay, but connected, grounded, and able to move forward, albeit a little bit slow, but that's okay. And then we have the Star card, which is that sense of peace. So whatever sort of we were fighting with mentally, emotionally in January, February is really that opportunity to sort of be free of that, to feel kind of balanced again, back in our position of sort of power, compassion, love, enjoying what we're doing, all of that sort of stuff. The star is associated with Aquarius, but she's always that piece that happens after the Tower, right? So to me, it's like sort of believing in ourselves, giving ourselves exactly what it is that we need, being kind and nurturing to ourselves, being steady in our thoughts and our actions, and really sort of being conscious of all of that in such a way that it brings about this peace. And February should be a really beautiful month for you. Seven of Cups for March. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got the Page of Swords. Let me see if I can get all these guys in here. And we've got the Magician. So, even though the card represents as the Seven of Cups for that month, for March, I feel like that confusion could be not only like, yes, we're confused, but it's about making a decision and being fearful of making the decision because something on this month, how do I want to describe this? There's something at, not risk, but there's like high stakes in this month. The Magician and the Ace of Pentacles indicates to me high stakes. The Magician is pure creation energy, right? He's about sort of as above, so below. He can make things happen. The Ace of Pentacles is about sort of that new opportunity, right? March could be the month that we're starting to really understand that we have a potential to see whatever that payoff is that in that larger Ace of Pentacles that we see in May, right? We're working with that idea here, and we're wanting to create it or begin to set about creating it. But I feel like the confusion of that Seven of Cups is like, we don't want to screw this up. I don't think that we will, though, looking at these three cards. The Page of Swords here is indicative of doing a little bit more research, investigating a little bit more, finding out what we need to know before making the move, learning those facts or whatever it is we need to empower this Magician to make things happen. So there could be something, my sense is that some sort of decision, possibly in the month of March, could have a little bit of a nerve-wracking effect for you because it's feeling not only important, but you could be fearful that maybe you don't have all of the information, that you could make the wrong decision or choose something unwise. So you might find yourself a bit stressed out or fearful, emotionally taxed about making the wrong decision. Ideally, though, you'll do the work. I like that the Magician is underneath all of this because I feel like you'll even though it may feel uncomfortable at first, you've still got this opportunity to do the investigation and bring about the change or the opportunity that you want to create. You just have to trust the decisions that you make as you move through March. Okay. The next card is the Eight of Swords, which is the Six of Wands, the Ace of Cups. Ooh, you want this, whatever this is, and then the Queen of Swords. So again, I think this is also a continuation of the month previous. We're trying to make this happen. The reality is we see it, we think that it's available to us, or we're certainly, it's a possibility, and we're afraid that we don't want to make the wrong decision or the wrong choice. and screw it up. The Six of Wands would be about being seen, celebrated, and that sort of spiritual desire, but also coupled with the Ace of Cups. When I saw both of those cards come out, to me, I was like, oh shit, whatever it is that she's working on here, she really wants it badly. She understands what it's going to be for her, how it's going to feel. And that Eight of Swords, again, feels restrictive, fearful, right? That Eight of Swords, that is the overall card. Underneath this, there's this strong, not only spiritual, but also emotional desire for you to have the thing that you want. The Queen of Swords is like the marriage of the intellectual or the thought base and the emotional base. She should be, there's a place of honesty with her, there's a place of truth, there's a place of being more analytical than emotional, trying to find our way through this or make the correct and right decisions. Ideally, I hope that we're able to trust ourselves a little bit more. That's sort of the advice I would give you during these 2 months where we see the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Swords, is that you're not as bad off as you may think or feel as though you are. Especially with this Magician and this Queen of Swords, you're more empowered than you give yourself credit for during these months, and you need to sort of rise up out of the Eight of Swords into the Queen of Swords. You need to rise up out of the Seven of Cups into the Magician during this time period, because you'll have a completely different experience of what it is you're trying to create and put together for yourself. Now, we still see this Ace of Pentacles coming out in the next month. That says to me that you will sort of create something that will be of benefit and exciting, positive, all of that. So let's see what's going on with the Ace of Pentacles. On the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Five of Cups, we have the Four of Swords, and we have the Ten of Swords. Interesting. This is a little bit somber for that Ace of Pentacles. Let me look at this for a minute. I'm going to go, before I say what I think this is about, I think this is about a very permanent ending that needs to take place in May. And because of that, the permanence of this ending, right? That's when we get to see the Ace of Pentacles open up. But we might be looking at this. Let me just look at this Five of Swords really quick. On the Five of Swords, we have the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. We have the Page of Cups. And we have the Five of Wands. All right, so going back to that Ace of Pentacles, right, which would be your May. I feel like looking at these cards here, these cards are a bit like sort of done in a way. There's a heaviness to these cards in this month. The Four of Swords would be about meditation and going inward, right? And getting centered in oneself. The Ten of Swords would be about endings. It would also be, could be about not necessarily betrayals, but just being so completely done. And then the Five of Swords is like sort of that, or the Five of Cups is that sort of like being emotionally upset over a loss of some sort, or, and I feel like whatever it is that's missing here, or whatever it is that we kind of have to stop or give up or acknowledge, opens the door for that Ace of Pentacles to open up to us. So even though this month might feel taxing, because I do get a feeling of taxing in these cards, this month might be heavier than just the Ace of Pentacles is. We have to understand that in whatever we let go, there's an opportunity for new chapters or new things to fill those spaces. And that is the Ace of Pentacles to me. The only thing is I feel like these cards to me feel rather productive, even though you're fearful or you're worried in these months, right? You're dealing with that Seven of Cups, Eight of Swords, but you feel empowered here underneath it all. Here you feel disempowered, which is strange to me. But I feel like you need to reach this state of disempowerment so that you can kind of almost in a way, in a weird way, I get a feeling of like hit rock bottom, gather yourself, and then allow the Ace of Pentacles to come into being for you. It's the best way I can describe it. And because it's so far out, I don't necessarily know that some of this stuff is attached to anything else in the reading. I feel like this might be a pivot month for you where something you... I, like, I don't know if you see it coming, or it's something that I feel like it's also maybe old here. Something you weren't expecting to have to walk away from or let go of comes to a term or a finish here. You do collect yourself, though, is my feeling with the Four of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. It feels like ultimately you will collect yourself and get an understanding of all this, and you will see that it's for the best, but you need to kind of arrive at that before you are able to see the opportunity that exists beyond it. And then the next month, which is that Five of Swords card, to me, we have again that blending of earth and water. We have the Page of Cups, we have the Hierophant, right, which is earth and water. Page of Cups would be about thinking outside of the box, thinking open-mindedly, keeping things very almost magical in our thinking, dwelling in possibility more so than anything else. The Hierophant would be about social structure, higher education, being discerning and strong-minded, strong-willed, all of that sort of stuff, structured in a way. But he kind of was a nice complement to the magical thinking of the Page of Cups. Now, when I think about these two working together, they actually have a really nice balance. Although one is major arcana and one is sort of a court card, they kind of play well off of one another, because one is so much about sort of higher learning and doing the right thing for the right reasons, where the other one's a little bit of a goofball, right? He's a little bit of a free thinker. He's a little bit of an outside of the box thinker. And so we have this nice balance happening between these two. But then we have this Five of Wands, which to me, again, Five of Wands is a whole lot of fuckery. But I don't feel like this Five of Wands takes us back to the previous Five of Wands that we see back there in December. I feel like this is, again, somebody may be challenging you in some way, shape, or form about what it is that you've created for yourself, or what it is that you're trying to find balance within yourself and defend. That is the Five of Swords that we see there. And when I think about that, the Five of Swords to me, like I said, is about kind of fighting for what we believe to be true, or our thoughts or our ideas around a certain something, and not everybody's going to understand or agree with that, and then we end up having to sort of maybe sacrifice that relationship or those friendships or those opinions, because it's kind of like it's lonely at the top card, right? Although we get to the top and we realize it's not as fulfilling as we thought. And so that's sort of that Five of Swords. I think that, to me, I feel like this Hierophant Page of Cups is kind of maybe, ideally, hopefully, where you're trying to work towards or get a connection within yourself. And I feel like others are either threatened, bothered, or telling you otherwise. They're telling you, no, this is not what you want to do, blah, blah, blah. And then the Five of Swords says to me that you may have to defend that, and in defending that, or trying to keep hold of that, trying to maintain that balance and to find that answer for yourself, you might have to upset a few apples along the cart, right? Or maybe, I don't want to say lose a friend here and there, but you might get some sort of a backlash for it. But ultimately, I don't think that the backlash, in my opinion, should matter, because I really like the strength of these two cards together. This to me is transitory. This to me doesn't necessarily serve you. These two guys working together do. And again, that finds us in your birthday month. So I feel like you feel empowered, right, with the Page of Cups and the Hierophant here. You should feel stable and secure and even optimistic. But there's those around you that are like sort of offering up, I don't know, conflicting opinions or ideas that aren't, that don't line up with yours? It's something to that effect. And so, is it really worth fighting for? Is the question. And that's something that you might want to think about come next June. So I hope this makes sense. I feel like this is honestly, like as I look at this reading, this is about really doing you first and foremost. I mean, if there's an overarching theme to all of this as to the patterns that I've seen in this, is it's about kind of finding out where we want to be in the world and how, and then following that no matter what, even in the face of adversity or when we feel challenged by maybe our environment or the thoughts of others around us. But we really, like, to me, I feel like there's this shift that might be taking place within you where it's about you putting yourself first and foremost above anybody and everybody else. And then, dealing with the sort of fallout of that if you have people around you that are carrying expectations of what they want from you, or what they expect of you. And you might be actually just this next year might be about you freeing yourself from those very expectations. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to string all of these videos together. Sorry that they're a little bit in pieces, but I am going to string them together, edit it, and upload it so that I can send it over to you. And I hope you enjoy it. And let me know what you think of the format. And have a wonderful, rest of your June. And I will see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.